What would you say if a mythical genie just popped into existence and offered you the chance to become a genius photographer instantly? How would that affect the joy that you get from photography? How's it? And so Adam's saying that, he would take maybe 12 good photographs a year. Now that's in stark contrast to an email that popped up in my inbox the other day that promised me, if I attended this particular course, that in 30 seconds or less, I could take the perfect, that's what they said, landscape photograph. Now, does that mean that it would take me 30 seconds to learn the technique of how to take a landscape photograph, or that I could just turn up somewhere, look at the scene for 30 seconds, and then take the perfect photograph? Either way, what's going on here? Why is there this obsession with learning things fast? It is taking away from the real purpose of why I picked up a camera, and probably why you picked up a camera as well. I'd like you to do me a favor. Up on screen, there are a couple of images from when I was 19, so back in 1993, around about there. And they are very different to the photographs that I take now. And I'd like you to think about, why is this? What has changed within me as a photographer? What has changed within you in your own photography from when you first picked up a camera till now? How proud do you feel about the progress that you've made, even if it's just tiny? And how great does it feel when you overcome a point of frustration, that you kind of go, I finally get it? These courses that promise to make you good at photography fast, they're taking away from photographers the benefit of that journey, of that struggle, of understanding how the process works and getting a far richer enjoyment of taking photographs because of it. Harry Callahan there with some, I think, pretty much not surprising advice, right? And I think there's a reason why I didn't use the quote from Henry Cartier-Bresson, who says, your first 10,000 photographs are your worst. Because that implies that to be a good photographer, all you need to do is take 10,000 photographs or some other number. And that's not true at all, is it? Because you could go out this weekend and take 10,000 photographs quite easily and still not have improved any. What Harry Callahan is saying here is that you need to, at least as far as I'm reading it, is that you take photographs and you keep on taking photographs and you just keep on taking photographs forever, right? It stretches off in the distance there. But in each one, you're looking, you say, okay, could I improve on this? Am I working towards a thing that I struggle with? It's like I used to struggle a lot with, I've totally forgotten what it was called. Right, it's color printing. Color printing, there we go, right? What a hard thing to remember. I used to really struggle with that in the lab. It's hand printing. I just couldn't get the color balance right. And eventually I got some prints that didn't look like they were just a complete mess. And it took me a while to get there. It's lots of trial and error, and even having people guide me and something. It was difficult. But when I finally started making prints, I went, do you know, actually this kind of looks vaguely like the sort of thing that I had in my head, or how I think it's supposed to look. I was really happy. I was like, Dad, this is pretty cool. And I think in the modern world, we are told that you should only celebrate really big achievements. If you've got Facebook or anything like that. everybody's like big things, right? Nobody goes, do you know what, today I did a color print that was, it didn't look like all magenta. Or do you know what, today I actually kind of the penny dropped about, the zone system. Or today I saw and recognized some natural light and I used it in a way that I feel proud of. Right, that's a nice, a neat little segue into, I've been asking people about what sort of deep dive they would like to see, and people have been talking about natural light. If you want to contribute your idea to the poll, the link's in the description box below. But that obviously for some people is something that they are frustrated with, right? So I can, magic things into their head, but, well, I can't actually because I'm not a genie. I would like to be. But, there we go. Are they going to feel more satisfied when they get a little bit of tuition and, go off and learn the process themselves, right? Of course they are. But what is the benefit really of going through this process of, struggle and growth and then struggle and then growth if, like, as all these courses suggest, you can just do this very quickly and not have to worry about it. Learning photography slowly is far better than just leaping through it very quickly, that myth of instant progress. Because we are, as photographers, faced with an infinite number of possibilities, both in the subject itself, the scenery, the lighting, the choices that we make in terms of the camera, the exposures, the lenses. When you go on a course and you think, oh, it's really tempting. I'm going to look at fast photography because I want to get it done quickly and move on to the next thing. It's much like in maths at school. Now, I wasn't very good at maths, so I was very tempted to use a calculator a lot. But the teacher said, no, you need to learn how to do long division, hand multiplication, and then moving on to trigonometry and calculus and all that kind of stuff is just too much. And I got very frustrated with that. But in retrospect, I see what she's doing because I could then apply what I'm learning. I'm learning how we got to the answers. And at the time for me as a teenager, I was like, I couldn't be bothered. But now as a photographer, I see the benefit of doing this. That if I am taught how to get to the point of taking the kind of cool sunset shot, right? Or I'll try and say 10 times the sunset shot. So I'll do my Sean Connery impersonation. A sunset shot versus around a paddock. And then you kind of you're picking up how to get to that process, as opposed to going and seeing somebody who just kind of goes, right, you don't really need to worry about how exposure works or this or that because you do X, Y, Z, then blah blah blah, and that just gives you this, right? That's kind of bypassing all of that skill that you can put into other things. Chefs are taught the basics. Sauces, make a roux. Once you know how to make a roux, you can make, not a beurre blanc, you can make a white sauce, you can make a cheese sauce, you can make all those sort of things. They're building up on their layers. And this is what slow learning in photography does. It builds up piece by piece the knowledge bank in our heads that we can apply to any situation, no matter how crazy or off-piece it is from the thing that we saw when we learned that, so long as we were taught the process. I am mindful that there are two types of photographers who watch these videos. There's the professional photographer, and there's the amateur or the hobbyist or whatever sort of term you feel comfortable with. And that not always does the advice, suggestions, whatever you want to call it, that I talk about be applicable to both. And this is I think this is one of those times that, Chuck Close is there talking about how, you actually have to get off your backside and take photographs, whether you're kind of feeling it or not. Now, professionals kind of know that feeling, but people for whom taking photographs is just, it's a hobby, it's fun, it's enjoyment, I think often kind of go, yeah, I'm not feeling it today, so I'm really not going to not bother. And that's kind of okay, right? And then you notice I said like kinda okay. Because I think if you are really struggling with something, if you are, feeling frustrated, like you're not getting somewhere, that it's tempting to just kind of put the camera down and not take any photographs for a while, and in the hope that it will kind of go away. And if you are bashing up against that problem, I would suggest that rather than putting down the camera and not touching it for a while, is that you keep on taking photographs, but stop fretting about the thing that you're fretting about. So if you're, like I take a lot of, or used to take a lot of portrait photography. And if I was fretting about something about, just I'm not feeling it, it's not working, it's not coming right, I would change tact and go in another direction, just to allow my brain to process those ideas somewhere else. You know the feeling. What's the name of the thing? What's the name of the thing? What's the name of the thing? And then 3 o'clock in the morning, you wake up and you go, John Michael. John Michael? Whoever John Michael is. That just popped into my head. But it is that kind of idea that you just need to kind of like a reset. And inspiration does come when you're working. That, I think, that's what Chuck's driving at here, is right. You can't sit around and just go, la, la, la. Oh, I've got the idea. Now I go off and work. Some of my best ideas, some of my best photographs have come out of the blue while I've been working on images. That is, I think that's a thing we can get into in another time in a video if you want to talk about that. But recognizing when the stars are aligning, when that little magic fairy has come along and farted pixie dust onto your camera, and you go, and everything just works out. All right, that's cool. But it only happens when you work. And I really wish that there was a guidebook to get you exactly to where you want to go. But Paul Strand has got some thoughts on this. Paul Strand hitting the nail firmly on the head with his hammer of truth, right? This is what I think is really, frustrating with photography, is that people are offering shortcuts based around their own experiences. The guy at the beginning of the video talking about, the perfect landscape photograph in 30 seconds is based on his experience of taking 100,000 photographs. The video that's purporting to say, learn photography fast, it's what worked for him. It's a distillation of his journey. Photography, I think, lacks anything substantial when it's just a mimicry of somebody else's process. Learn the processes that everybody has to offer. By all means, if you want to go and learn how to take perfect landscape photographs in 30 seconds, then do so. But don't think that that's the full picture. It's part of the picture. As Paul Strand says, there are no shortcuts. There are no signs or a rule that says once you do this, you get that result. It's all about what you're willing to do, what you're willing to put into growing your own ability as a photographer. This is what we're all about, is, looking at the infinite possibilities in photography, of putting in the effort to understand how to apply what we're learning to other sections, and then to create these awesome photographs that take us on adventures, that lead us from ironworks in South Africa to airports in Washington, D.C. I really hope that this has helped you on your journey. If it has, leave a like on the like button. It'd be fab. And do you see what happens when I say like button in the bottom? It's like a cool little trick. Anyway, thank you ever so much for watching. And if you want to find out more about A contemporary of Paul Strands, who also has some awesome things to say about photography and understood the journey, was Edward Steichen. If you're not familiar with his photography, check him out over here. I know you're going to love it. Thank you ever so much for watching. Have an awesome weekend, and I will see you again soon.